Fiber. Let's talk about fiber. Now, people say fiber is an essential nutrient. What I would argue is fiber is exactly the complete opposite of a nutrient. And why do I say that? Well, because what does fiber do? We basically cannot use it in our body. We have very, very little use for fiber. It makes us crap out like 6 times, some places 6 times as much volume of waste product because we can't absorb this. The idea is our microbiome can have a small, tiny effect on that, but that's not an essential part of our diet. In fact, it's been estimated that we can ferment.
So fiber helps you produce butyrate, which is anti-inflammatory, and on top of that, fiber consumption helps to lower your cholesterol, which prevents against heart disease. It's also protective against type 2 diabetes, and the reason why fiber helps to avoid constipation is because it increases the volume of your bowel masses. If you have too small of a clump in your intestines, you can't force it through your intestinal tract. But if it's large, because you're eating a lot of fiber, it's easier to pull it through your digestive tract.
Roughly between 4 to maybe as much as 10% of our calories can come from fiber. Again, it's a tiny amount. It is certainly not essential. And the other thing that's important to know about fiber is fiber actually blocks the absorption of nutrients. So protein, fat, and carbohydrates are blocked by fiber. So it's the exact opposite of nutrition. It is making you lose nutrition. Compare that.
So this is not true. Fiber doesn't make you nutritionally deficient. It can slow down the digestion of nutrients, but it doesn't block absorption.
To things like beef and eggs and seafood and dairy products where you absorb all that nutrition. Why we eat is to nourish our body. Now,
here to pull it through your digestive tract.
Roughly between 4 to maybe as much as 10% of our calories can come from fiber. Again, it's a tiny amount. It is certainly not essential. And the other thing that's important to know about fiber is fiber actually blocks the absorption of nutrients. So protein, fat, and carbohydrates are blocked by fiber. So it's the exact opposite of nutrition. It is making you lose nutrition. Compare that.
So this is not true. Fiber doesn't make you nutritionally deficient. It can slow down the digestion of nutrients, but it doesn't block absorption.
To things like beef and eggs and seafood and dairy products where you absorb all that nutrition. Why we eat is to nourish our body. Now, here's a kicker here. The diet quality has deteriorated so badly in the United States and the rest of the Western world that fibers actually have that benefit in that situation because it's blocking you from absorbing all the garbage, all the refined carbohydrates, all the sugar. Remember, they first started talking about the benefits of fiber back in about the 1930s. This goes back to Dr. Dennis Burkett when he was studying Africans and noticed they didn't have the rates of diseases. And he assumed it was because they were eating more fiber. But what he should correctly assume is because they were eating a hell of a lot less sugar and processed grains and refined garbage food, right? So this is the difference there. And people say, oh, the microbiome, you need the microbiome for your colon. Guess what? There are people alive that live full normal lives without even having a colon. They get the colon whacked out from trauma or something like that at a young age. They live the normal life expectancy. The other thing about that is that this thing here, metabolic flexibility of the gut done 2 years ago shows that the gut is perfectly fine without fiber. It can do all the magical fiber things with the short-chain fatty acids, with proteins through low-carb diets where they develop ketone bodies floating around in circulation. So fiber.
What was that study? So this is just talking about microbiome, not the benefits of fiber specifically. Like, if you eat more fiber, you live longer. That's the simple fact. So he's telling people to not eat something that will make them live longer.
Fiber is not nutrition. I would argue that it is the opposite of nutrition. And the fact that we keep, the standard Western advice is just eat more fiber, just eat more fiber. It should be stop eating as much crap, right? You get a better and eat more real nutrition. Beef, eggs, dairy products. You do so much better. Anyway, that's my thoughts.
Yes, eat the foods that are associated with chronic disease. Brilliant.
A little while ago, I mentioned that, I think fiber is kind of overrated and that, basically I think it works by just blocking your ability to absorb nutrition. And, people always talk about it has all these metabolic effects and so on and so forth. And, I said, well, you probably see sand and get the same effect if you're looking at that, kind of tongue in cheek. Well, it turns out that actually, believe it or not, there are scientists that have looked into basically eating sand as a way to improve metabolic health.
Engineered particles of purified sand could be the next anti-obesity therapy, as new research shows that porous silica can prevent fats and carbohydrates from being absorbed. That's not how fiber... This has nothing to do with anything. So fiber doesn't prevent you from absorbing calories. You idiot.
That have looked into basically eating sand as a way to improve metabolic health and improve obesity. And yes, indeed, the ingestion of sand, and this is engineered silica particles, which is basically sand. They've shown in both animal studies that it leads to less weight gain in mice. In human studies, it's shown to improve metabolic factors such as hemoglobin A1C and so forth. And so, if we want to just say, well, instead of eating wood pulp, just eat sand. Same sort of difference. And so, my argument would be that, if you're saying, oh, I need to eat this wood pulp or sand so that I don't absorb so much nutrition, so I don't get so damn fat, and so it helps me, then my argument is, well, what's the point of eating in the first place? Are we eating so we can block our absorption of nutrition, or are we eating because we're supposed to be taking in nutrients? I would argue that the reason you eat is to take in nutrition, and to eat things that block that are only beneficial if what you're eating is garbage, right? If you eat a lot of fiber, you're not
No, overeating would cause obesity, inflammatory issues, raise your cholesterol, make you more prone to type 2 diabetes, certain forms of cancer. So you can overeat good foods. And even if you're eating only, quote unquote, good foods, if you're overeating, that puts you at risk for chronic disease and early death. Like, nothing this guy says makes any fucking sense. He's just a complete waste of time. Thanks for the donation, Carnitard.